For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, very much anticipated broadcast for today, Tuesday. My name is Timothy Poleon. We go up until 2 o'clock this afternoon, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after 2 o'clock. We'll give you some extra time. I will not tell you why, I guess you know. And we'll be taking your calls at 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. Unfortunately, we did not have a broadcast yesterday, and many of you were going berserk. My apologies to you. This happens from time to time. It only proves that I am human, and sometimes I will be under the weather. But I understand that there is normally a void, significant void between 12:30 and 2 o'clock when we do not have the program. But today is another day, and we quickly move on because we have some serious business to address. In the land of denial, in the land of hypocrisy, in the land of pretending that everything is hunky-dory, in the land of us wanting to just close our eyes and pretend that everything is okay. And even when we know that this is a time of great trial for us in this country, we would want to just ignore the issues, ignore the challenges. And we seek rescue in a day of fasting and prayer. We use that as a panacea to our problem. And sometimes I believe that this is all pretense. We are saying to ourselves that if we engage in prayer and we fast over a few hours or a few days, automatically the problem will disappear. Well, I'm no theologian, but that is false. And that is a ploy or a scheme that is being imposed on us in an attempt to rob us of our responsibility to acknowledge and to understand that there are a lot of things that are happening in this country that is within our control. Those are not insurmountable. They are just being ignored. And in the case where we have some individuals who love the power and they have not appreciated the responsibility that comes with that power. And this is equal to a parent wanting to exercise power over their children and not realizing there's a tremendous responsibility that comes with this. First, you ought to, under normal circumstances, plan your family. You also have to put yourself in a position to take care of your family, feed your family. You have extracurricular activities that your son or your daughter will want to participate in, etc. If, for example, along the way, things do not work according to plan due to illness, you lose your job, you have a pandemic on your hands, then you cannot plan for certain things. And even illness you plan for, untimely death you also have to plan for, etc. This government of the St. Lucia Labour Party did everything right up to July of 2021 in terms of preparing itself for victory. It did everything according to plan. But the evidence is showing it did not plan to govern this country in an effective manner. And it does not displayed the eagerness to face those challenges which have plagued us for far too long. And what challenges I'm talking about? Those are not foreign to the St. Lucia Labour Party, and in particular to our most readied Prime Minister. And it did inform us, he enumerated, he told us why he was the most readied individual. Held key ministries from 1997, infrastructure, commerce, tourism, acted in the role of Prime Minister between 1997 up until the 2006 general election. More readied than the great Sir John Compton. More readied than Stephenson King and Dr. Vaughan Lewis. But now, what is the evidence showing? It is showing, or is it showing that the Prime Minister is displaying that same level of eagerness and vigor as it did in the run-up to the last general election to deal with the challenges that he is confronting right now at the helm of the government? I am prepared to say that there's been a serious dereliction of duty on the part of the Prime Minister. And he does not understand that quite apart from being Prime Minister, Minister with responsibility for finance and national security, he is the Commander-in-Chief. And he should not be passing the buck. And he should not be ignoring those major problems that are certainly proving to be such a bother, such a headache, such a nightmare to the people of this country. And if you're the commander-in-chief, you have to ensure that you do what is necessary to maintain law and order in the country. What we have right now is the Prime Minister ignoring the reality on the ground. What is the reality? Criminal elements are moving with ease and apparently unhindered to a large extent in dispensing their own form of justice. And they will decide whether you live or you die. You are at their mercy. And what we have at this time is a Prime Minister who either makes excuses or secondly, he ignores the problem as if it does not exist. Are you telling me that by now, the Prime Minister who boasts about putting the people first, that will include a pregnant woman, putting all those people first. He has not demonstrated the magnitude of the problem that certainly is crying out for rectification, has not prompted him to have an address to the nation. It's not warranted. A few months ago, took to the airwaves, alarmed the people of this country because people are thinking, is it the general election is going to call? What will the Prime Minister address? Because we attach a lot of importance in St. Lucia to an address to the nation. An address to the nation for us is a precursor to some major announcement. When you hear an address to the nation, it's 1 in the afternoon, it's 2, etc. There's a build-up. For you, there is something significant that you'll be hearing from the Prime Minister of the nation. Whether it's John Compton, Kenny Anthony, Stevenson King, Alan Chastney, and Philip J. Pierre, and the others. But what he spoke about was giving public sector workers in St. Lucia what was due to them. And people were left troops in. Imagine that's what I invested my time in, to hear about what was automatic, what was expected. And so the Prime Minister does not see the necessity to address the nation on critical issues that would give the impression or create a picture of a government that is unprepared to deal with the major challenges that are impacting the people, and probably the people, the Prime Minister believes, will blame them. Blame the government for ineptitude, for incompetence, for dereliction of duty. There is no denying that as part of the scheme and the ploy and the tactics of this administration is to ignore the country's crime problem. Whether it involves a pregnant woman being killed, she and a baby, they just will not come forward and raise the alarm and say this is enough and we can't stand that. We have to do what is expected. The Prime Minister is still giving, along with the administration, the impression that it can even get worse. And we should not be too perturbed by what has been happening in the country over the last fortnight or so. About a dozen homicides. And that includes a pregnant woman. And we're not hearing condemnation of people coming out, in particular from the government and the various agencies, in unison to speak about those issues. We have a gender relations minister, gender relations department, so many females who speak on behalf of the government ever so often not coming forward to address that particular issue? Where is Lisa Jawair? When's the last time you heard from her? Is it opportune as a woman you come forward and you address that particular issue and you condemn it? What will you think that will do to your reputation as an individual and as a female? It shows that you really and genuinely care about the people. So the next time there's an opportunity for you to call Newspin and defend the government, defend the St. Lucia Labour Party, people will listen to what you have to say. But do you believe going forward that people of that ilk should be calling any talk show to defend the Philip JP administration or the St. Lucia Labour Party? People ought not to listen to you individuals because you lack credibility, you lack empathy, and you are not genuine in your approach. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. For some individuals, wasn't a big deal when we spoke about Tyson dying under suspicious circumstances, according to the police. Not a big deal. A woman, 32, gunned down along with a baby. Imagine, in St. Lucia. It is not a big deal. And many of you are falling for this trick. And I hope along the way that things will change to the extent that you'll come to realize that protecting the victory is protecting the victory at all cost, even if it involves ignoring things that ought to concern us, that ought to alarm us. And one can only imagine what the friends of Troya Martin are going through, what her relatives are going through right now, and the fact that the government that claims to care so much about the people of St. Lucia have ignored what is obviously something that is hideous, that is atrocious, that is painful. That is a human being. Not just another statistic. Not just homicide number 30-something. It is a human being, and people are behaving and acting as if things are normal. According to the French, pas normal. Not normal at all, at all, at all. So, let us listen to Sarah Flood Bobra as she reacts to the head of the Roman Catholic community in St. Lucia, Archbishop Malzier, who says and is calling for a day of prayer on Friday of this week. Prayer and fasting, as if this will change anything at all. We have had so many of these rituals. We've had Pastor Ben having so many crusades, so many religious events to bring crime under control in this country. It will take more than divine intervention. It will take a change of attitude, not only on the part of the ordinary man in the street, but on the part of our leaders. Address the issues. They are critical. You have a front row seat. You are calling the shots. You are responsible for our finances. Our finances are at your disposal. Manage it properly so that you can effect positive change on behalf of the people of this country. That is what you were elected to do. And if you're not producing results, you ought not to be rehired. That's plain and simple. That's what happens in the private sector. So let's listen to Sir Flood Bobra, former External Affairs Minister and former MP for Castries Central.
The bishop called for prayer and fasting. That's very important. We need to pray harder. We need to fast more. But prayer needs a fertile ground for there to be a harvest. Yes. And right now, our environment fuels crime. Because the leadership of this country encourages, supports, and facilitates crime. So I second the call for prayer. I second the call for fasting. But we have to make a choice. Yes. It's up to us. Let's not pray in vain. Let's not fast in vain. Let us make sure we elect leaders who value life. And you cannot deal with crime if you cannot deal with it within your midst. Now, I don't need to say all of that because all of that is said. But what I want to say to us, every woman in this country, every man in this country, we didn't know it would have been Troyer. Look at Joycelyn. She can't even lift up her head. This was a young woman who walked with us in Castries Central. A young woman who was pleasant, always accepted guidance, counsel, and responsibility. So this is a sad day, and it cannot get any worse, brothers and sisters. We've got to do something about it.
You know what is sad about all of this? There are murders. But when a nation has lost its soul and a gunman can look at a woman who is 7 months pregnant and gun her down, and that innocent baby inside of that womb, it's not just one life. And it is as if as a people we have become insensitive to this thing. I don't know if you recall, many of you may be old enough to recall a woman who was killed and thrown under a bridge somewhere many, many years ago as a young boy going to school. And that woman was pregnant. She was raped and murdered. And that remained in the news. The men were convicted and to be hanged. These days we are not even mindful that the perpetrators of these crimes that we are talking about may never even be caught. Far less to be brought to justice. This is what sweet St. Lucia has become under the Philip J. Pierre-led Labour administration. And not a word from the government.
Just heard there from Guy Joseph, and before him, Sir Flood Bobra, speaking during a political activity of the United Workers' Party on Sunday. Let's take a calls right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And Amanda is standing by to report on some of your comments in the chat room. In the meantime, let me see if I could go through some of your comments. Somebody says, Timothy, what's most disrespectful is that the Prime Minister and his entire team know the people are demanding answers on serious national issues such as the travel ban, Tyson's death, the rising murder rate, and more. Yet he remains silent and ignores our request. St. Lucia deserves better. And yes, we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, where's Catherine Tim? And another comment via WhatsApp. Tim, fasting and prayer never solve any problem and never will. That's a mindless concept, a fool's errand. I think the Prime Minister is liking the fact that the gangs are taking out each other, making it easier for the police and saving resources. Well, I don't subscribe to that. Cannot speak for the Prime Minister, cannot imagine that that is what he is, as a conclusion that he has reached or what he wants to happen. But again, that is your point of view. Let's see if we have some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, body found pizza Rodney Bay, police on the scene. And we hope it's not anything serious. We hope it's due to some natural causes, but we'll monitor this development, and if we can confirm during the course of the broadcast, we will share whatever information that we have with you. But according to a message we just got there, somebody says there, body found near Pizza Rodney Bay, police are on the scene. And let's see if we have some more of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Somebody says there via WhatsApp. Don't even want to read this one but until we get confirmation. So hope we can get confirmation during the course of the program. I'm getting lots of information regarding a particular matter. But we have to be very responsible in our approach so that we could confirm before we share information with you. Somebody says there, for some time now, I have been observing media reporting on political and governance issues in St. Lucia. To me, I don't know whether it is because of the election cycle which we are in, but there seems to be a pattern of incorrect analysis which can sometimes lead to misinformation or even disinformation. Whether it is intended, deliberate, or it is intended, deliberate or not, I do not know, but it allows for certain biased opinions to be concluded. For instance, in a particular news item, it was reported in one headline, Pierre escalates his war on high prices. This, in effect, that Pierre, being our Prime Minister, was involved in a war on high prices and was only stepping up the effort. Contrarily, the facts show that it was Mr. Pierre who contributed directly to high prices because of keeping old taxes and introducing others that would have a significant impact on the price of goods. He also has the power to regulate the prices of many other commodities such as fuel and price-controlled items through the policies that he implements. In reality, we would have Mr. Pierre escalating war on himself for his policies, which would be a contradiction. There are many other such articles which can be said to be misleading or biased and which has to be challenged or disputed in the media. I do not know whether this should be solely the work of the opposition or reporters articulated through other strategies. However, I'm putting this out there hoping that it will be discussed as the media forms public perception which is critical to our democracy and survival. It is one thing for me on this broadcast to express my opinion on a particular issue. I have the license to do that. You also have the license to do that, especially if we do not malign people, if we do not cast aspersion, etc. But I agree with this individual who sent this WhatsApp message, particularly as far as two television broadcasts are concerned, and one in particular, we have commentary in a story. Matter of fact, you have editorial, you have opinion in those stories. It's supposed to provide the audience with the facts in a story, in a newscast, and then allow them to form their own opinion. And as we do on this broadcast, on Newspin, we do not have a newscast. We report, but we opinion it. We have our opinion on those various issues that are occurring. So I could easily tell you it's my opinion, and I try to ensure that my opinion are based on the facts. But we have one particular television station. I think that is their choice to do that. and where they put a lot of opinion in the news. And that's very unfortunate for some of the reporters. I suspect they are not the ones who are scripting those stories. They are made to read those stories. That is very unprofessional. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Amanda, good afternoon to you. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, Newspinners. A few comments from the chat room. A comment here reads, our government still hasn't understood the saying, if you give a man a fish, example handouts, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, example employment, you feed him for life. A Newspinner says here, maybe they understand it too well and therefore don't want to teach people to fish, as they would be independent and require more from the government instead of begging for a bread. Another comment here reads, we keep complaining about the Prime Minister. Might just be a situation that he can't do better because he's in a place where he believed it was a walk in the park. Someone says their PJP's governance has everyone at a crisis point, and Anson governing from afar has us hopeless. A commentator says, all what the SLP supporters on social media are saying is no government can stop crime. A Newspinner says here we are in a communist country. Team, I will always say this because this is what is happening. Another commentator reads, we need proper management of the crime situation and to use technology including surveillance, intelligence, human resource management and enforcement. We do not need bad attitudes, egos and lip service. And the commentary says, fasting and prayer with no action is useless. If you are doing it for revelation and direction, you have to be willing to act on that. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We continue with your calls once again at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. And let me see if I could share some information with you at this time. There's a story certainly that many people are commenting on at this point in time, and just trying to see if I could get some verification and clarification on that particular matter. And it involves a visitor to our shores who has been missing from Sunday of this week. And according to media reports, his lifeless body has been discovered. So let's see if we could provide you with some information, and that is coming from St. Lucia Daily Post. The search for missing American tourist Travis Wyant has ended in tragedy. Police have confirmed that his body was discovered near the water in Rodney Bay shortly after 10 a.m. today. Wyant, 35, of Grayson, Georgia, was last seen on the evening of Sunday, July the 6th, after leaving his hotel room. His failure to board a scheduled flight the next day sparked an urgent search effort involving the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, his family, and the U.S. Embassy, which had opened an active investigation. Despite some leads suggesting Travis had been seen alive following his disappearance, police recovered his body earlier Tuesday. His family, who had remained in close contact with investigators, has been informed of the devastating development. He was last seen wearing a gray T-shirt and bright blue swim trunks with a design, and was described as 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing approximately 210 pounds. At this time, police have not determined whether foul play was involved, and the circumstances surrounding his death remain unclear. A full investigation is underway to determine what led to this tragic outcome. So once again, the search for missing American tourist Travis Wyant has ended in tragedy. Police have confirmed that his body was discovered near the water in Rodney Bay shortly after 10 o'clock this morning. Wyant, 35, of Grayson, Georgia, was last seen on the evening of Sunday, July the 6th, after leaving his hotel room. His failure to board a scheduled flight the next day sparked an urgent search effort involving the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, his family, and the U.S. Embassy, which had opened an active investigation. And that's the story according to St. Lucia Daily Post. Let's continue with your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Once again, 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim. A few days ago, Tim, I called you and I told you about our Prime Minister administration and the aligning with different governments that is not for or pro-America, and particularly the Brexit with Brazil, and he's bringing on the taxes for we can import Brazil beef at a cheaper rate and killing the local industry in that sense. The Trump administration has put out a press conference, a statement recently. I read it, and it stated that any governments that are dealing with Brexit, especially Brazil and South America, China, and the rest, against the anti-America.
I don't think it's Brexit. It's BRICS, BRICS, BRICS.
BRICS. Yeah, not BRICS. BRICS. Sorry, Brexit is England. Sorry about that. BRICS. Yes. So the Americans, Donald Trump had put out a release that countries who are dealing with Brexit, particularly Brazil, he's threatening another 10% tariff on those countries because those countries are practicing anti-American slogans. And I remember for the visa restrictions, one of the things in that thing was anti-American slogans. So I just tell Philip J. Pierre it is best he turn back the wheel around. Leave Maduro, leave the Brazilians, and let us go back to the Americans. Let us try to mend our problems with the Americans and the Europeans, because the Europeans as well are threatening us with visa restrictions. I have my family there. Most of our barrels come from there. Most of our investments come from there, and it is a very troubling time. And I just hope the St. Lucian electorate see what is happening and vote the United Workers' Party in the next election. Have a best one.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Let's see if you have another call via WhatsApp. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. We have a call on the line? We do? Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
Okay. I just have a few concerns. I have heard on your show that 97 homicides plus the killing of a dog has been laid solely at the foot of Mr. Norbert.
No, hold on. Mr. Norbert? Who's Norbert?
Jeremiah Norbert.
When you heard that?
I've heard it. And they've laid the all of it at the foot of Mr. Norbert.
When did you hear that, caller?
Sometime last week or something.
No. Nobody blamed Mr. Norbert for this. Okay.
I never said that he.
You said they put it at his feet.
Yes.
Isn't that the same thing as blaming him?
I don't know what it means, but I know they have.
No, caller, hold on.
Yes, that is blaming him. Yes.
All right. Because if we're gonna discuss, we're gonna be very honest, okay? And I'm not hearing you.
It is blaming him. It is blaming him.
Caller, hold on, please. I'm not hearing you too clearly. By the way, I'm not hearing you too clear. I want to hear you clear so we could have a discussion because I know where you're going, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
No, where I'm going is Mr. Poleon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also hearing that the bishop is asking for a day of fast and prayer, right? And I'm hearing people are saying that the little groups are not coming together, the church is not coming together, that one is not coming together. And if the church has taken a step in saying, okay, let us pray for the nation, let us have a day of fasting and prayer for the nation, I see nothing wrong in it. Now, if an individual must be developed holistically, you cannot take away the spiritual aspect of that individual, which is not the sole aspect of the individual, but it is one of the very important aspects of that individual. So if the bishop is asking for a day of fast and prayer, I would expect somebody like Mrs. Serapha Broblin to support that.
But she said, but listen to what she said. She said, yes, we are all for this. But that alone cannot work. There are some people, hold on, caller, hold on. There are some people who have a responsibility right here on this earth, in this country, to maintain law and order in this St. Lucia of ours. that they must do what is expected of them, what they were hired, what they were elected to do. So let's not hide behind. That's what we have done with religion, you know. Hide behind, let's pray, let's fast, and that's it. We might even go on to blame the devil for what is happening. But what our situation has been worsened because of a serious dereliction of duty. There's some people not doing what they were elected and appointed to do so. That's the nitty-gritty of it.
Hear me, Timothy.
I'm listening to you.
We as parents and as communities have also let go of our responsibilities. There was a time...
And when our children... Hold on, caller. When our children misbehave out there, okay? It is the responsibility of the police to do what is... If we as parents have failed, the responsibility is to arrest them. Hold them before the courts. No. Hold them before the courts. Have a serious justice system that would ensure that things go according to how they're supposed to operate in a civilized society, Colin.
I agree with that.
So you're talking about
if somebody has broken the law, he must be punished. But let us lay the axe also at the root of the tree. How do we resolve our problems at home in the presence of our children? How do we resolve our problems in the community, in the presence of those young individuals? I am ashamed of how we relate to each other in public, and children are walking.
Not only in public, caller. Not only in public, in Parliament. In Parliament. Caller, I'm allowing you in Parliament.
I am coming to...
No, get to it. Caller, listen to me. Get to it because time is against us. I'm saying to you.
I am coming to it.
Get to it.
I cannot watch television with my children because of the anger that is being radiated by politicians. The misgiving. I cannot. Our children, our young people, and I'm saying to you today, an ounce of example is worth more than a ton of advice. So what is Newspin doing?
Okay, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you. Cut this call off. Thank you so much. Newspin has been playing its role, caller, from the year 2002. 23 years. We're into the 24th season of the program. When everybody else has been skirting the issues, have been hypocritical in addressing the issues, making excuses for politicians, we have been dealing with the issues head on, calling on parents to account. We've had parents on this broadcast, calling on the church to lead the flock, calling on politicians, prime ministers, national security ministers, MPs of the various constituencies. So don't come with that nonsense. That's why I told you, I knew where you're going because, caller, you wouldn't believe it. Where Newspin is concerned, I have a crystal ball. I knew where you're going to because you started by blaming the parents, blaming the children, blaming behavior, etc. What about those people? We pay thousands of dollars on a monthly basis, and they have nothing to show in terms of the development of our country economically, socially, and otherwise. What about the people who have decided that after 2 terms and not less than 8 years, they are guaranteed a pension? You're given a pension for what? For doing what? What about the bad behavior, all the lying that takes place in the island's parliament, all the bullying that takes place in the island's parliament? You're afraid to focus on those issues, caller? Rick Wayne is on the line. Good afternoon to you. This is Newspin. You're on the air.
Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
I take it you remember our good friend, Peter Alexander?
That's for another show. That's not for Newspin. So, Rick.
Did you? I only asked your question. Tim.
I only answered you. That is not for Newspin.
All right. Anyway.
You asked me a question. You asked me a question, and I answered you. So, Rick, you understand?
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sure you will allow me to say that yesterday we were having a discussion among 3 or 4 people, and it came down out of nowhere to which was the best show in St. Lucia.
I read somewhere. I mean, the guy's totally obsessive Newspin. Totally obsessive Newspin.
But there's a point to this.
But the point is, here's the point. The point is, he's a fan of the show. That's what he is.
Is that what?
A fan of the program.
I don't have any animus with Alexander. He's predictable and he's entertaining. I don't think but on a serious
well,
point,
for me, Rick, I don't have no time for him, and he's not entertaining.
Okay, all right. I would argue that.
Right.
But I always have a serious point to my apparent levity. If I heard right, the gentleman who called you a while ago stated that those of us who criticize the church for not taking action ought to be jumping to the moon because they're taking some action now.
Yeah.
And the action, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's exactly what he said.
And the action now is that calling for the prayers and fasting, right?
Yes.
And what was the purpose exactly, did the guy say? The prayers and the fasting?
Basically, it was to the effect to bring some kind of soulagement to us in this country with regard to the crime problem.
I thought I heard him say for the souls. People have souls.
I can remember him saying souls.
But in any case, Tim, I just wanted to point out that this is precisely what has been going on in this country for the longest while. When the bodies start piling up, people complain, etc. Some church, some pastor Ben, or somebody arranges a mass, novena, or fasting, or whatever. But you know what? In his time, when he was the leader of, I'm going to put him in some good company, actually. When he was the leader of the organization One, you know, what he did in terms of crime, the handling of crime by Kenny Anthony, with which he was most dissatisfied. You know what Peter Alexander and his organization did? They organized a march, placards, and all things. Just like Martin Luther King did in his time.
Rick, are you serious? You're going to talk about Peter Alexander and Martin Luther King?
Let's forget the names. There's a big point there, Tim. I am pointing out to you that when we call on the church as an organization to protest, we're not talking in terms of praying for the souls of the departed. We are talking about getting people together, and all of us together who can march or whatever it is, to let the message be clear. Tolerance of crime, and we want the government to join us in the march against crime, or to take whatever action only the government can take in relation to crime. Prayers will never do it. We know that. The best of us know that. Okay? Somebody who has just been killed, I don't think the relatives are going to get any comfort from knowing that a church or a church organization is going to have a mass, a novena. I think what they want is what we put our government in place to do, what we have police to do. Protect us, protect our loved ones, protect our business from evil people. And you don't do that by just fasting. And that fasting, I don't even want to go there. Fasting and prayers, because I would imagine we do that every day anyway, Tim.
Yes.
Praying.
Yeah.
Because according to everything I read, leave it to God, leave it to God. We've been doing this a long time. This is not a statement against any church or against any belief. It is that it's the lazy man's approach to do nothing in actuality and call on God to do what we ourselves should be doing. This is the message I want to say. It is so convenient for us to do nothing useful except call on God to fix what we could easily fix with some action and a determined move. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm, rocking any church or rocking the Pastor Benz of this place. Even Brother Harris, what happened to him?
I suspect he's on a sabbatical.
Oh, he wasn't very well, remember?
Yeah, but I think he's okay. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. He's okay. He's
Well,
all right.
even he recognized that the idea of praying for the things we can do ourselves is at best specious, misleading, if not complicit.
And the politicians revel in this, particularly those who are in
But
office.
they love it.
They love it.
They
They
love
revel in it. And let's pray.
Have you heard anything new about that promised inquest team regarding the Bates case?
No, I haven't heard anything new, no.
Not long ago, I promised reopening the inquest. And I want to repeat again, Tim, this idea that the important factor in the Tyson case was whether Allen used the wrong word or whether it should have been murder or homicide or whatever. I mean, you wonder why intelligent people do that, Tim, and why other intelligent people support that. The killing of Tyson can easily be equated in our circumstances to the killing of a cop, because the dog was doing the job of a cop and doing it far better than any cop in St. Lucia has ever done. In that very short time, that dog may have saved lives.
Mm-hmm.
That dog has caused a load of guns not to be on the streets. Our policemen have a very difficult time doing that. And it is very suspicious in our circumstances, always bear that in mind, it's very suspicious in our circumstances that firearms and all those things are being discovered by the police, but not the people who imported them, neither the people who exported them. Or if that is so, it's kept a state secret. What is the story behind the container of marijuana that was discovered some couple of years, 2-3 years or more ago? What do you know about that?
There's not been any new development.
Tim, if the people of this country would stop being emotional and just go back over time and count the number of friends they've had, relatives, or people that just know in the street, who were killed like animals, like stray animals. And all we heard was a little talk for 2 days, maybe a week, and nothing since. And we do not pressure, we don't ask questions, we don't bring attention to these things. Are we then any different from the people who are doing the killing with impunity?
We are not, Rick, obviously.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Now, Rick made reference to Tyson. And in the island's parliament, people were quibbling, over, the dog was murdered, whether you should say whether it's appropriate to say a dog was murdered or a dog was killed or tortured to death, etc. As if that's the big issue. And I could only imagine how those people who donated that dog to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the French, how they are feeling. And if somebody heard saying a dog was murdered, etc., then under such circumstances, that's irrelevant. That ought not to be the focus of any discussion. Because there are some underlying messages that one should read into that particular incident which apparently occurred, where according to the police, the dog died under suspicious circumstances. And if somebody killed the dog, then what do you believe that person can do again in an effort to conceal the criminality so that they could continue to engage in acts of illegality? What do you think they can do? Is there any end to this? Is there a limit to what they can do? And some people have been, ridiculing the fact that Newspin has focused on Tyson. I've never met the dog, but as Newspin and Tyson, they have a special relationship. We first reported that the dog was donated. We had the photograph of the dog, the kennel, etc. And I've been speaking and criticizing the government, I believe rightfully so, for disbanding the K9 unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And of course, the last act that we had to report on, unfortunately, is the death of Tyson. And of course, what some people have been saying, trying to make a joke out of this. So insignificant. Un chien au trait. And murdered the dog. Let me share some information with you regarding another dog. This time a dog from Italy. The name of the dog is Bruno. And Bruno is a 7-year-old bloodhound. And he died an agonizing death recently after eating sausages filled with nails that had been thrown into its kennel at a training center in the south of Italy. The sniffer dog had helped find 9 missing people over his career. And it is being reported, you can investigate this for yourself, that the killing may have been revenge for Bruno's recent work helping to break up dog fighting gangs. That's over in Italy. And what is the message there? That criminal elements will get rid of dogs, of people, if they believe that those people or animals are in their way, serving as an inhibiting factor when they want to bring their drugs into a country, when they want to bring their illegal guns and ammunition, whatever that's in their way will be eliminated. So those people among us who see the death of a dog as something insignificant, and I don't know that for a fact, but in the case of Tyson, this would be to the annoyance, the chagrin of those French people, the French government, which donated that dog to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and by extension, to the people of St. Lucia. This is callous, and we are acting as individuals who are very ungrateful, and we will do anything just to score cheap political points. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called Newspin. Still to come, more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. And somebody says St. Lucia is the crime capital of the OECS.
Carnival just got crunchier with KFC. It's time to fat, win, and feast with the Carnival Crunch Box. For just $30, get a Big Crunch or Zinger sandwich, 3 crunchy strips, a dipping sauce, regular fries, a 16-ounce soda, and a biscuit. But wait, that's not all. Every Carnival Crunch Box gives you a chance to win big. Promotion runs June 1st to July 20th. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Do whatever that crunch you want. Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilec averti ou pour point précaution durant saison cyclone ça là. mi an ti komisyon ki kay wen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Kouye lou silek avant ou trim et ben couper pied bois qui poué ligne électrique. Veillez pour ligne courant électrique avant ou monter l'échelle. Fait asiwe l'échelle, scaffold et bout zouti ou ka servi, pas vini moins ki 10 pieds hors ligne courant électrique. Pas jamais servi appliance et ben zouti qui ka servi courant électrique. Des wall côté qui mouillé et ben en la pli. Ça, c'était en commission hors Lucille.
Your home is a reflection of who you are. So make it beautiful. The MNC Home Depot.
Quality products at the best prices. Paint and plumbing to home appliances. Customer service, you can count on us. With experience, you can trust.
So if you need to build it, clean it, style it, paint it or fix it, chances are we got it. MNC Home Depot, better value for better homes.
MNC Home Depot, better value for better homes.
Visit us in store or shop online at mnchomedepot.com. MNC Home Depot, better value for better homes.
Flo's prepaid customers can now unlock big bonus rewards like bonus data, prizes, and more every time you activate a 3-day prepaid plan or launcher. Activate a plan, then scratch to reveal your bonus data. Plus, get points for extra prizes. The more you activate, the more bonus data and prizes you can win. Get in on the big bonus rewards when you activate a prepaid plan. Dial *129# or visit topupflow.com to activate a plan today.
At La Clinique de Corps, your health comes first with St. Lucia's only advanced 1.5 Tesla MRI, delivering safe, radiation-free imaging aligned with World Health Organization and international standards. Not sure if you need an MRI, CT, or ultrasound? Our expert in-house doctors guide you so you get the right scan the first time. One accurate scan can change everything. Your peace of mind starts here. Get $50 off all consultations with our doctors now through July 31st. We're UHC approved and accept all major insurances. Visit us in Castries or Cocoville, Rodney Bay. Call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950. La Clinique de Corps. Advanced care, local access, your health reimagined.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vigbutay. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
At First National Bank, we believe being first means putting you first. Your first home, we've got the mortgage. Starting your first business, count on our commercial loans. Dreaming of your first car? Drive it home today. Heading to college? Let's fund that first big step with a student loan. No matter the milestone, make First National Bank your first choice for all your loan needs. First in service, first in trust, first for you. Call us at 455-7000 or visit your nearest First National Bank branch today so we can help put you first. First National Bank, here for you.
The St. Lucia Labour Party's Town Hall Tuesdays continue, this time at Palm Valley Glory Fair Gallery North on Tuesday, July 8th from 7 p.m. This will be yet another powerful edition of Town Hall Tuesday with Parliamentary Representative Honorable Sean Edward. He will be joined by political leader and Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Get updates on national progress. Hear what's happening in your constituency. Share your concerns and be part of the conversation shaping our future. Dennery North, we're coming to you. It's Sean again. See you on Tuesday, July 8th at Palm Valley from 7 p.m.
The World Health Organization says that the global average of crime is 6.2 per 1,000 population. In St. Lucia, in 2022-2023, we have recorded 41.7 per 1,000, every 1,000 individuals we've got in our population. That is 7 times higher than the world average. That makes us the crime capital of the OECS. That's what the Labour Party has done to our country. They have made us the crime capital of the OECS. Imagine that. St. Lucia has the highest crime rate in the OECS at 41.7 for every 100,000 individuals living in our country. Grenada, in comparison, is at 13.6 per every 100,000 Grenadians. Look at the difference. 3 times lower than that of St. Lucia. In St. Kitts, it's 29.4 per 100,000. In Dominica, it's 28.4 per 100,000. But St. Lucia is all the way up in the 40s all by itself. The distinction of being the crime capital of the OECS has been handed to us by the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Former Government Minister Dominic Fede. WhatsApp message. Analyzing the climate in St. Lucia, it appears that something or lack thereof is facilitating / fueling activities associated with kingpins, crime syndicates, criminal underworld, or drug barons in our hinterland of the West Indies. If not, then the shocking criminal activities for the past 15 years and the recent high number of murders, illegal drugs and guns, counterfeit monies should have us deeply worried and analyzing. It's inevitable that if we do not take serious actions right now, things will get even worse, a sorrowful cry in the land. The climate analyzer calls us to drive the government and the people of St. Lucia to do more. Say more, be more transparent and accountable, step up, and send a fearful and forceful message to the criminals. A WhatsApp message. We are awaiting your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls or messages 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp. Tim, I wanted to add my sentiments to some... No, that's an old message. Okay, so but somebody says there, hi Tim, the people of Grand Riviere, specifically the Tetmon area, would like to pass on the message to Wasco, as we've been calling relentlessly and there has been no response. This is the 5th week straight that we have no water. All drums, tanks, buckets, and bottles are empty. We need some relief, please. And that is coming from somebody who resides over in Grand Riviere. Imagine that's in the north of the island. And that individual says that they have been calling Wasco relentlessly and there has not been any response. Over the last 1 month and 1 week, 5 weeks straight, they have been without water. Drums, tanks, buckets, bottles are empty. So Wasco, those people are crying out for some relief. A call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. This is Newspin. You are on the air.
Yeah, good to team. I've listened
Yes,
to
sir.
the program, and I think it is a balance. The guy says, the bishop says pray and fast. Now he's not a child. He's of age. He's a leader of a biggest organization international. So he'll clarify whatever he said early on. But I'm saying pray and fast is either a full stop or a comma. In my case, it's a comma. You cannot pray and fast and stop there, because the same Bible says, without faith, it's impossible to please God, and faith without works is dead. So works must follow your faith, pray and fast. And I think that, so I don't know if he stopped there or he had to go further, but what I know is that prayer and fast is not a full stop after it. We thought your works must follow. And the works must be, and the Bible says against crime, Ecclesiastes says that because the sentence of an evil work is not speedily executed, court taking 4 years, 4 years, the punishment it doesn't suit the crime, it is light punishment. The hearts of men are fully set on doing evil. Understand? So I think Jamaica now taking a hard step on crime. And the crime, I think, is now about 40% lower than last year. But I also have an issue with the guy who said people who believe in fast and prayer are fools. And for some reason, I think you shouldn't read the part. Because I hear you, some messages you don't read all the part of it. You cannot call people fools because they believe in fast and prayer. They have a different view from you. But I think, too, there'll never be a utopia, perfect society where they sin. But we can do a lot better to reduce crime. As in Cuba, I felt safer in Cuba than in St. Lucia. Honestly, I work nighttime, daytime, a lot of tourists all over the place. Mm-hmm. Because the people in Cuba know, Cuba are bad people too, but they know that the penalty for crime isn't worth even thinking about. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think it's not fast and prayer, but fast and prayer to follow your works, your enforcement, your court cases mustn't drag 3, 4, 10 years quickly, and the punishment must suit the crime. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So the approach must be strategic. The war against crime must be fought on several fronts. And what we are demonstrating in this country is that we are not learning from certain experiences. We have been there on a, maybe not a continuous, but almost on a consistent basis as far as crime is concerned in this country. And yet still, we have not, whether it's this government or the previous administration, found a methodology that can work, that we can employ, so that we do not have a situation where crime is out of control. And nobody's saying that we'll have a perfect society that is free of any kind of criminal activity. But we have to acknowledge there's a responsibility for the managers of our country. And your responsibility with we call it limited resources that you have, is to be creative so that you can address so many different issues. Healthcare, education, all we want is for you to reasonably tackle those issues. Unemployment, and of course, the safety of the people in our country. Whether you're talking about citizens, whether you're talking about visitors, ensure that we control those various challenges that are affecting us. But it appears from time to time that we lose our way, that we have no answers to the problems that are impacting us, and certainly that is a recipe for disaster. Let's turn our attention now to what is happening in the chat room and ask Amanda to provide us with an update.
And team, a few comments from earlier in the chat room, and Newspin says here, you don't even hear of the number of homicides on the news report. Had it not been for social media, everything would be kept under the table. A commentator reads, in opposition, PGP never told us that the government cannot stop crime. He was blaming the government for every crime that happened in the country. Now he's stern, he's not happy when the people blame him. And Newspin says there, these people that are saying that no government can stop crime, we know that. However, if it was the UWP in power, these same people would be all over the place demanding the government to stop crime. Another commentator reads, depravity leads to atrocious behavior. If we can be insensitive and lean into the killing of a dog as it is nothing, then this same depraved attitude towards animals, then it can be transferred to humans easily. Someone says there, when people will start respecting each other for who they are, then things will become easier for everyone else. A commentator reads, wow, what's going on? So many deaths. I pray his death is of natural causes. And Newspin says there, I do not think we should just let Trump walk over us. Someone needs to stand up to him. Yes, we need them, but we are independent. We are an independent country. Another commentator reads, Richard Frederick speaks with a passion of hate towards people. Is this acceptable in a House of Parliament? Another commentary reads, the hypocrisy of some people when their political parties in government. The crime situation falls on the back of parents, talk show hosts, children, teachers, Dick, Tom, Harry. But when it's the other way around, the crime situation falls on the back of the government. Someone says there are a lot of those children were raised well and some chose to take the destructive route. A Newspin says finally, after 4 years of ongoing murders, the church comes out to announce a day of fasting and prayer. Someone says there too much jealousy turns to anger and frustration causing crimes. Someone says there praying and fasting is important. We need a divine intervention in this country. With God, all things are possible. A Newspinner says there are many of those who are in leadership positions are not good examples to the people whom they represent. Another commentary reads, this Tyson issue should be treated like a police officer was poisoned, not as a dog, but a police officer. This government and the RSLPF has not taken this matter seriously enough, hence the reason why we will continue to have a criminal situation on our hands. And the commentary reads, I hope they update us on the death of Tyson and the impending US visa ban. Someone says here, for Tyson, a K9 hero's prayer. They called you Tyson, strong and brave, a lion's heart, a soul to save. Your paws walked bits, both dark and steep. Your love ran deeper than the deep. No thief, no threat could slip your graze. You stood your ground through danger's haze. Not just a dog, a warrior true, a guardian in fur of blue. O Tyson, now beyond the sky, where canine angels leap and fly. No pain can touch you, fearless friend. Your watch here met a wicked end. But here as Tyson, we won't rest till justice crowns your life's last quest. Your badge still shines, though torn away. We'll honor you beyond this day. Rest in power, Tyson. St. Lucia remembers. Back to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Clearly proving that Tyson has endeared itself to the people of St. Lucia and in particular decent individuals in our country. WhatsApp message. I would like the authorities in charge for the street light poles to address a current problem. It has been 3 weeks, a street light in my area in Bocage has not been addressed. When called to follow up yesterday, infrastructure said they don't have any idea as to when this will be fixed. Tim, why did we remove this rule from Lucilec? Lucilec would have addressed this a long time ago with all those crimes occurring in our country. Pato is on the line via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you, sir. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm okay, Pato. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kimani.
Amanda.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, caller.
Amanda.
What's your mind, sir?
Yeah, let me tell you. I don't want people to take me wrong. I believe in prayers. I believe in prayers because prayers can move mountains. But who is praying? Who is praying? Some people call themselves Christians, and they are more crooked than a hook. Some pastors are more crooked than a hook. I'm saying that and I'm not afraid of it, Not even Jesus certain times could have performed effectively when there was unbelievers among him. He had to send them away and to do what he had to do. So when you take a whole heap of people that call themselves Christians and say they're going out and praying for the nation, I think they need to pray for themselves. Pray for their church members. Pray for their pastors. Pray for their families, their inner circle. Before you go on your bike and you prepare busene, you live in that and you're going out and say you're praying for the nation. And I'm saying it again, most of them are crooked and they are crooked more than a hook. So they need to examine their conscience and search within and look who is worthy of going out there and pray. Or stay home and pray for yourself. That is what I had to say this afternoon.
Okay, Patu. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Thank you so much. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says there, never have I heard in my 50 years on this earth of the dissatisfaction of a government/administration in St. Lucia. Prayers never helped against crime and never will. St. Lucians, please educate yourself and let your voices be heard. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says there, I keep hearing people blaming the Prime Minister for crime situation. He has a part to play, but not everything the Prime Minister or Minister can do about the crime situation. We have to come out as one Caribbean country. Together we can making excuses for the politicians. I mean, one regional Prime Minister says, we have a duty to our citizens. We have a duty to our citizens as far as citizen security is concerned. And we should not be making excuses for politicians, whether they're in government or in opposition. And currently the opposition United Workers' Party, highlighting the crime problem in our country. And if it gets into office, it will be getting the same Newspin treatment. If we have a situation where crime is getting out of control, and especially if a United Workers' Party administration is pretending that the problem does not exist, we will remind them of their duty, of their responsibility to tackle the issue. I mean, what is more egregious is you have a minister with responsibility for crime prevention, and a pregnant woman has been shot and killed. Her baby dies in the process. We have not heard a word from the minister with responsibility for crime prevention. I mean, that's a level of respect that those politicians have for the citizens of the country. You have, for example, a St. Lucia Labour Party. When it's convenient, issues press releases on insignificant issues, things that should be seen as entertainment. But a woman has been shot and killed, and again, not one press release on that particular problem. Are you telling me that as a brand, as a party, as a government that says putting the people first, that you are living up to that mantra? Are you honestly, can you defend this, that you're living up to this? That the people ought to feel cherished, the people ought to feel safe as far as their lives are concerned? 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. And let's hear from Prime Minister Mia Mottley, speaking during the opening of the CARICOM Heads of Government Summit over in Jamaica and focusing on citizen security.
I ask us equally to look at the issue of where we are with respect to citizen security. Today, the heads of government of the Caribbean community met with the heads of judiciary, and we did so as an absolute item of respect on the part of both groupings. It was a historic meeting, and it was one that recognized, as your Chief Justice in Jamaica put it, that it is possible for the judiciary to meet, remain independent, but not isolated from the communities in which they operate. This is so critical, not just for the development of Caribbean jurisprudence, but also for the stability of our democracies. There is no country in this region that is not facing some level of citizen insecurity. And regrettably, I've said over and over, we pay a high price for the Second Amendment rights of the United States of America's citizens. But whatever the cause, the reality is this is where we are. If ever there was a time for us to cooperate as we discussed today on matters pertaining to this, and Jamaica has put on the table a regional justice and security framework cooperation agreement, which I believe the rest of us are ready to engage in, because it is consistent with the Needham's Point Declaration of 2023 that was settled by the Caribbean Court of Justice Academy and the judges of the region. It is consistent with the George Bridge Declaration of November 2024 that was settled by the CARICOM heads of government, and it is absolutely needed by our citizens if we are to see safety be the primary concern of our people, from Jamaica and the Bahamas in the north, to Belize in the west, to Barbados in the east, to Guyana and Suriname in the south. And of course, underpinning all of that is that wonderful island chain of the Eastern Caribbean states. We have a duty to our citizens.
The best Prime Minister in the world, Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados. We have a duty to our citizens as far as their security is concerned. That's according to the Barbadian leader. Let me see if I could go through some of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, please bear with me while we try to access as many of those messages as possible. Tim, I want to respond to the previous caller who wants to remove blame or responsibility from the government and place it at the feet of parents. I want to admonish people with such thinking that government has ultimate responsibility over everything and everyone within the country. Based on his sentiments, one may also argue and say, don't blame the parents, blame the children for not being obedient, etc. Then the children may say, don't blame me, blame my environmental circumstances, which in itself falls squarely at the feet of government. Government must form the policies that will guide the behavior or promote good parenting. Government must also create the policies to promote decent behavior in children, also policies to promote positive spirituality and godliness. Government must also be transparent and diligent in executing justice and judgment and equity and integrity. Government is responsible overall. And let's see if we have a call on the landline while I go through some of your WhatsApp messages. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. I think we have a call via WhatsApp. Let's see if we can put this call on the air. Hello, good afternoon. This is Newspin. You are on the air.
Hi, Tim. How are you? Alan Chastney here.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Chastney.
Good afternoon. I've been listening to your callers and your show as usual. And I really feel for us in terms of our own frustration in understanding what is it that we can be done. And I think that it's important to decompartmentalize whose role is what. So the government, the elected officials are to provide policy. The police force, along with all of the other corresponding agencies, are to implement those policies. And as police officers, they are law enforcement agents. Their job, sadly, comes into play more often after the crime is committed. And it is really the social programs and other ministries that play a more significant role in trying to identify the crimes before they take place. I had, sadly, the first-hand experience to really appreciate the silent enemy in all of this. And it's called trauma. It's trauma. We think of trauma, I think, probably for the victim, but it's the victim's family. It's extended to the neighborhood. It's extended to all the people that were involved in this. I mean, so whether it's the emergency workers that had to carry the body away, sometimes of a young child, and recently a mother who was pregnant, the schools where their children associated, workplaces where their adults associated. And we've gone silent right now on, I think it's almost 7 people, Tim, that are in ICU. And the impact that is having on our health services. So, you know, I remember being Prime Minister and meeting with the doctors at Victoria at the time, where there was not enough equipment. And often they were put in the position of deciding who was going to live and who was going to die, because they had to take somebody off an ICU, they had to take somebody off a respirator, because they thought that somebody else may have had a better chance to live, or somebody was younger versus an older person. That's a horrible position to put somebody in, and the trauma that's created. So I want to agree that prayer in itself can't resolve the problem. And I think that Rick spoke about this is the lazy man solution to what the problem is. And what I want to do is to say to us as a society that there is a role for us to play. And that is to help try to reduce the trauma. And the stigma that's associated with crime, and in many cases, the stigma that's associated in crime zones. So if we take Wilton's Yard and New Village as an example right now, how many solutions have really been there? And if we invited people to go there, how many solutions would go? But there are brothers and sisters. You know, there is a beginning, there is a first step to at least go and show some level of respect and some level of support for the victims and all the persons in those communities that are suffering from trauma, and to let them know that we're with them. And I think that it will send a direct message to the government that we as society value life. And we also value the life of those persons who are living. Because we have to go on. We have to try to find some level of solution. And so I want to say that I'm taking up this day of prayer that the Archbishop has called for. And I've asked my party to put its colors down on Friday. Put your colors down. And for us to go collectively, forget about political party, for us to go collectively as citizens of this country who value life, who treasure each other as brothers and sisters. And as I said, I gave the example in the House. I call Richard my brother. I may not agree with things that Richard is doing, but I'm not going to hate Richard. I'm not going to hate anybody in Parliament. And similarly, that we need to treat each other as brothers and sisters and have that respect and show everyone in St. Lucia, including the persons in charge, that we value life. We value peace, but we must find a way to exemplify that and to say that. And that's why I'm asking that on Friday afternoon, we're going to have a vigil both in New Village as well as in Wilton's Yard. There will be details coming out. This will not be a political movement. It will not be. I'm asking no one to wear any political colors. I'm asking us to come out as brothers and sisters and to start the healing and to show some love. And it's not about just going down there and praying, but it's hugging. It's also bringing gifts. And for us to say to the people in these areas who have been traumatized over many years, it didn't start with this administration, over many years, that we start a process of healing in our country, but at the same time, is to show that we respect both the persons who have died and the impact it's created, and very importantly, the living, and to give some people some hope that they're not forgotten. So I'm hoping that everyone will join what the Archbishop has called for, to take it past the point of just praying and fasting, but actually getting into the action of going in and joining a group of people to go to Wilton's Yard, to go to New Village. And I think that if this works, and I think I'm 100% sure it's going to work, Tim, that we could now start going to other communities in St. Lucia and to do the same thing. but we must value life. Both those who have died, and remember them not just as a number, but as their own story and the impact that they had in their own families and the suffering that other people are going through. Let us join arms together, please. I thank you, Tim.
And what time is the event on Friday?
It's going to be on Friday afternoon. I would say to you probably after 4:30. We're working with the church and we're working with other groups because I said this is not intended to be a United Workers' Party event, but we certainly will lend our support to it. We will encourage everyone to come from our party. We're encouraging everybody not to wear a political color and not to make this a political issue, but simply about putting our brothers and sisters first and to give them something. Let's do something. Let's not just sit here and complain and believe the responsibility doesn't just belong to us, but the trauma that's being impacted on everyone is just as bad as the death. Because I've seen people, Tim, that are traumatized. I see people after a fact not being able to cry and blocking things out. And we must ask ourselves as a society, we must ask ourselves that question. Let's look in the mirror and ask ourselves as a society, is it a solution thing now that a mother, and I'm just using the most recent example, there are multiple of other examples, but a mother had a child dies and she's just a number, she's just another statistic? I know that we're better. I know we're better. And it suggests to me that we ourselves are traumatized. But by ignoring what's taking place is only going to make the matter worse. I think we need to confront it. We need to go down there and meet and speak to the people, our brothers and sisters, and let them know that their voices are being heard, that they are cared for, and we're not just going to stigmatize them as being in a danger zone, a crime zone.
All right, so thank you so much. You just heard
you,
there from the leader of the opposition, Mr. Alan Chastney. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Still to come, we'll be hearing from the head of the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force.
Mark your calendars for July 30th and 31st. It's 2 days of sizzling savings you don't want to miss. Cashier Day is coming to Europa Hardware. Get 15% off all your favorite cashier gear. Wet and dry vacuum cleaners, powerful pressure washers, gas or electric, upholstery cleaners and steam cleaners that make grime run for cover. Swing by Europa Hardware and score 15% discount during the Cashier Day promotion. Remember, it's July 30th and 31st. Write it down, set a reminder, tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't wait, don't miss out. Call us at 452-0763. Europa Hardware in Massad Rosalie. We service what we sell.
Prepare for the hurricane season by ensuring trees and other objects on your property won't get tangled in overhead wires. Be careful. Ensure ladders and tools don't come within 10 feet of power lines. If a tree is near electrical lines, don't try to trim it yourself. Contact Lucelec at 452-2165 or 454-6617. Be smart, stay safe.
Tired of sky-high bills and a planet on the brink? It's time to go green without burning your pockets. At First National Bank, we are here to make saving the planet affordable. Whether you're installing solar panels, purchasing a water tank, upgrading to an inverter AC, or buying a hybrid vehicle, we've got the green to help you go green. Fast approval, low interest rates, and Mother Nature approved. Your future self will thank you. Visit firstnationalbankonline.com or call 455-7000 for more information to help you turn your green dreams into clean realities. First National Bank, here for you.
Whoa. It's in the feeling in our we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping. Together going strong, no matter what, we keep things flowing. For the people we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky, celebrating. Come let your rhythm flow.
teens. This one's just for you. Get ready for the KFC Teen Socarama, happening Saturday, June 28th from 12 to 6 p.m. at Serenity Park. It's a full day of teen talent on display. Junior soca and calypso artists, kiddie carnival bands, fashion, drama, games, and non-stop vibes. Come out and let's have some good, clean fun. No alcohol, just finger-licking goodness. So tell a friend, grab your crew, pull up to KFC Teen Socarama. See you there.
I in a good spirit. I drink in a good
St.
spirit.
Lucia, are you ready for the ultimate all-inclusive?
Chalet Blanc, the all-white event. Tier 1 now available at Frontline Ticketing, Eventbrite, Digital Baywalk Mall, 4 Circles Ticketing, or WhatsApp at 240-344-8629. A musical journey curated by the best local and international DJs. St. Lucia Carnival Saturday, July 19th, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
At Sanders Golf and Country Club, Kappa State.
Look something to talk about.
Unlimited drinks, brunch buffet, top-class entertainment.
Stay tuned. This event is powered by One Golden Fox and Natalie Events.
At La Clinique de Corps, your health comes first with St. Lucia's only advanced 1.5 Tesla MRI, delivering safe, radiation-free imaging aligned with World Health Organization and international standards. Not sure if you need an MRI, CT, or ultrasound? Our expert in-house doctors guide you so you get the right scan the first time. One accurate scan can change everything. Your peace of mind starts here. Get $50 off all consultations with our doctors now through July 31st. We're UHC approved and accept all major insurances. Visit us in Castries or Cocoville, Rodney Bay. Call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950. La Clinique de Corps. Advanced care, local access, your health reimagined.
It's time to paint and save at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt. Get 20% off on all Berger Everflow and Magic Coat paint during our big carnival season paint sale. Whether you're refreshing one room or painting the whole house, now's the perfect time to add that pop of color. But hurry, the Brush and Save sale is only here for a limited time.
Good day, St. Lucia. Major operations by the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit of the RSLPF has led to multiple arrests, seizures and disruption of criminal networks. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force, through its Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit, has heightened its efforts over the past 10 days with a series of targeted intelligence-driven operations. These strategic interventions aimed at intercepting illegal firearms and narcotics have resulted in substantial seizures and arrests. On Friday, June 27, 2025, the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit, in collaboration with the Central Intelligence Unit, executed Operation Cargo Watch, a targeted initiative aimed at intercepting the illegal importation of controlled drugs into St. Lucia via air cargo from Toronto, Canada. Surveillance efforts led to officers to intercept 2 motor vehicles linked to the suspects. One is the Shaquille Walker of Castries and Miss Andrina Epifan, an executive officer with the Customs and Excise Department in Vieux Fort. Their behavior raised suspicion, prompting searches of both vehicles. The search uncovered 4 kilograms of compressed cannabis concealed in Fruit Loop cereal boxes and 2 kilograms of cannabis resin amounting to 14 plaques hidden in an airbed box. The exhibits were professionally documented, photographed, and secured by the Scenes of Crime Office. Both individuals were arrested and charged with possession of cannabis resin, possession with intent to supply cannabis, possession with intent to supply cannabis resin, the importation of cannabis, and the importation of cannabis resin. They were both granted bail in the sum of $50,000 EC, either cash or suitable surety. On July 3rd, 2025, acting on credible intelligence, the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit South and North teams conducted a joint drug operation in the Dennery Village and later at T2 Beach, targeting suspected drug trafficking activities. Following several hours of surveillance and thorough searches, officers discovered 45 bricks of suspected cocaine in 2 large sacks. The total seizure weighed approximately 50 kilograms with an estimated street value of EC $1.3 million. The recovered items were weighed, sealed and labeled and submitted to the forensic lab for further analysis. On July 4, 2025, during a follow-up operation in the area, Quentin Taylor alias Quincy of Dennery was intercepted during a snap vehicle check. He was found in possession of 105 grams of cannabis resin and subsequently arrested and charged with possession of controlled drugs and possession of controlled drugs with intent to supply. He was granted bail and is scheduled to appear before the court. On July 4, 2025, in a separate but significant development, the Gangs, Narcotic and Firearms Unit formally charged Chester Garner Ernest, a dual citizen of St. Lucia in the United States, with 3 counts of firearms importation under Section 41A of the Firearms Amended Act of St. Lucia. The charges stem from a December 12, 2024 operation at his residence in Carolee, which yielded 1 Cobra .380 pistol, 264 rounds of ammunition hidden within a false air-conditioning vent, firearm cleaning kits, and compressed cannabis. Further investigations link Ernest to a major seizure on August 22, 2022 at Shed 6 Podcast Trees, where authorities recovered 3 AR-15 rifles, high-capacity magazines, tactical gear, and various firearm components. This case is part of the RSLP's ongoing combat against illegal importation of firearms through St. Lucia's ports. Ernest is scheduled to appear before the 1st District Court on Tuesday, July 8, 2025. This investigation also involves international cooperation, particularly with the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms and Explosives, the ATF. On the morning of Monday, July 7, 2025, the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit, supported by the Central Intelligence Unit, conducted a high-priority operation in Odlum City, Barbatat, based on intelligence concerning a possible illegal firearm transaction. A search of the premise resulted in the discovery of 1 suspected AR-15 rifle, 2 high-capacity magazines, and multiple rounds of various ammunition. The serial number on that firearm appeared to have been tampered with. All items were handed over to the Scenes of Crime Unit for forensic analysis. No persons have been arrested as it relates to the recovery of this weapon. The recent operation underscores the RSLP's unwavering commitment to dismantling organized crime through precision policing, strategic intelligence, interagency collaboration, and international partnerships. The RSLPF continues to encourage members of the public to remain vigilant and report suspicious activity by calling the 555 hotline or using the anonymous tip lines. Community involvement remains vital in this fight against crime. Together, we can create a safer St. Lucia. God bless each and every one of you, and let's help keep our communities safe.
That's the Inspector of the Narcotics, Gangs and Firearm Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Siobhan Matthew. We continue the broadcast with our Newspin question of the day. The Newspin question of the day reads, what do you think about Archbishop Malzer's call for a day of fasting and prayer? What do you think about Archbishop Malzer's call for a day of fasting and prayer? Our Newspin question of the day, followed by the Newspin news of the day. Peru president doubles her salary despite record low approval rating. Peru president doubles her salary despite record low approval rating. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.